Good morning, dear students, and welcome back. Happy learning, students. Let us start with the second video of lesson 11. A look inside the body. The esophagus. Let us see what is esophagus. But just before that, look at the picture. What is the man in the picture doing? Yes, you are right. He is filling the water from the tap into a drum. The tube or the pipe carries the water. This is what exactly the esophagus does in our body. Esophagus. Let us see what is esophagus. Our mouth is where the journey of food begins. Our mouth is the first entry to carry our food. We use our mouth to eat food and it reaches our stomach. Now do you know how does the food reaches from mouth to our stomach? There is a tube or we can call a pipe to transport food to the stomach. This is called esophagus or gullet, or in simple words we can call it food pipe. Students, when we chew our food, our saliva in the mouth mixes with the food to form a moist ball, which makes it easy to swallow this ball easily through the throat and eventually through the esophagus and enters the stomach. This tube-like part, that is the esophagus, carries the swallowed food. It is flexible. Look at the slide. Since it is flexible, it can carry the food from the throat to the stomach easily, where the food is digested. Students, the esophagus is situated in the thoracic cavity. It is a part of the alimentary canal. Now, do you know the internal organs in the abdomen help to digest the food? The undigested food, unwanted part, is passed out through the anus in the form of feces. That is where the journey of food ends. Now see, students, this pipe-like pathway from the mouth to the anus is called alimentary canal and it is about 9 meters long. The heart. A heart is an extraordinary important internal organ. It is situated in the center of the thoracic cavity, a little to its left. Students, make a fist of your hand, and that is how exactly your heart is. Now students, heart walls are also flexible. The function of the heart is to keep the blood flowing. Let us see how the heart keeps the blood flowing. Now see this new term, contraction. Contraction means becoming smaller. Relaxation, becoming larger again. These two new terms are related to our heart. The heart contracts, which means becomes smaller, and the heart relaxes, which means becomes larger again or comes to its original size. This happens alternately and continuously without stopping, dear students. When it contracts, the blood in the heart is pushed into the blood vessels. At every contraction, blood is pushed further. A contraction of the heart is called a heartbeat. Students, you can do this activity on page 71 to understand contraction and relaxation. Now students, I would like you to place your palm on the middle of your chest, a little to the left. You can feel the throbbing of your heart and a sound somewhat like lup dhup due to the heartbeats. Students, we have seen in the beginning of the lesson The doctor puts his fingers on your wrist to feel the pulse because at the wrist there is a blood vessel that flows very close to the skin and you can feel the heartbeats. This is called feeling the pulse. Our next internal organ is lungs. Students, do you remember in lesson number 9 we have learnt how important is air and without air we cannot survive. When we breathe in air, we take the air in through the nose. The internal organ through which is supplied to the body are called lungs. Now see students, how many lungs do we have? Yes, we have 2 lungs. They are situated in the thoracic cavity, one on the right and the other on the left. The heart is between the lungs a little to the left. The lung on the right is slightly smaller than the right lung and the right lung is slightly bigger than the left lung because the heart is in the left side. The lungs are connected to the nose by a pipe-like internal organ which is called the windpipe or the trachea, which carries the air we breathe in into the lungs. This windpipe separates into 2 branches. Each branch is called a bronchus. Each branches enter the lung when we breathe in and the lung expand. This is why our chest swells up. The function of the heart and the lungs depend on each other. Both these internal organs are very important to your body. They are situated in the thoracic cavity. There is a cage made of bones that protects these organs. This cage is called a rib cage. It keeps the heart and lung safe and secure. The brain. Brain is a very important organ situated in the cranial cavity in our head. It is the brain that performs many important functions. The brain controls all our actions, making us aware of our emotions such as anger, joy, sorrow, etc. The brain does so many things. It helps us to understand the world around us. Students, do you know what is the CPU of a computer called? Yes, very good. It is the brain of the computer. So, brain is our CPU which stores all information. So, we remember many things. When we learn a poem, it is registered in the brain. That is why we can remember it. This work of remembering is called memory. Students, brain is a very delicate organ and hence it needs protection. So it is situated in a bony case called a skull. Students, any injury to the brain can make one disabled for life or it can even cause death. Hence, the brain needs to be totally protected. Dear children, in this lesson we have seen the structure of our body and it is very complex. All the organs inside our body perform all its functions smoothly. Children, did you find the lesson interesting? As you learned about all the organs inside the body, I'm sure you found it interesting. And now we have come to the end of the lesson. Students, don't you feel it is important to look after our body to help it to stay well and healthy? Always remember, health is wealth. Now there's a small activity for you. Read the lesson and find new words and write them 3 times. Thank you.